My name is Amanda Brown. This is my first presentation for ICOM 495, History of Ball State. A project description. My project description is, I want to educate Ball State students and people in the community about the history of Ball State University, from the founding, important people, buildings, and big events that have happened through the years, seeing the differences between Ball State in 1918 and today, almost 100 years later. The reason why I'm doing this project is I wanted to do something similar to my project that I worked on in the fall. In the fall, I created a transmedia narrative that focused around the history of Muncie. I wanted to narrow that topic down this semester and create a story based around Ball State and its history. The problem space. Ball State students and people in the community might not know much about the history of Ball State University. I want to create a tool for people to learn more about Ball State's history that is both educational and entertaining. So the scope is gathering research on Ball State history, like important people, buildings, and events that have happened over the span of its history. And once I finish my research, I want to create media like digital timelines, charts, graphs, pictures, and videos. Audience. Ball State students will be the main audience and will use this site to learn about the school that they are currently attending, to hear of Ball State's deep history, but the site will also be for people who want to learn more about Ball State's history in general. Outcome. People will learn more about Ball State's history after looking at the website and the content on the site. Now we will talk about the research and the findings that I had from the 10 sites I looked at 2 weeks ago. And what I tried to do was only use sites that were based around history to see what kind of elements they were using to inform users about certain historical events. What I noticed was that these sites were using interactive elements to tell the event or historical location. And some of those interactive elements were games and quizzes, interactive timelines, interactive maps, videos, and slideshows. And I'm going to go into more detail about each one of those in a moment. Okay, so this first one are some games and quizzes. The one on the left is a game of the Jamestown Adventure interactive site, which was incorporated into the story to make it more entertaining and interactive for the users. And then we have on the right a scavenger hunt. And this one is centered around American history. And then we have the interactive timelines. And again, I have two examples of that. On the left, we have the Ben Frank interactive scrollable timeline. And they incorporated facts, games, videos, and articles and pictures to make it a multimedia site based around Benjamin Franklin. And then on the right is a timeline from the Smithsonian Museum. And you can click on different time periods and I'll link you different parts of the website. It's different than the other because this doesn't have the interactive elements on like the specified dates. You click on these little links right here and you are taken to that part of the site where you can read more about the information. And it's not just directly on the link like the Benjamin Franklin one, where you can just click on like this and then a little pop-up will pop up about like a quote or a little game. And then we have the interactive maps. And this is an interactive map of historical Williamsburg. And if you click on like one of these pins right here, you can read more information about the building, like what makes it historical, what kind of things happened there in the past, and stuff like that. And then we have videos. And this is a screenshot from a video of an interactive site that let people know about what life was like in colonial Jamestown. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I had some other videos throughout the whole experience. Now we move on to slideshows. And these are 2 screenshots from a Lewis and Clark exhibit, an online exhibit. And this slideshow is used to explain the exploration of Lewis and Clark, like major findings. They have a picture and then the text next to the picture in a text box explaining the significance of the image. So you can click on one of these images right over here and it'll open up a bigger image of it, giving you the full view of it, and then it'll also have a text box right next to it that explains the significance of the picture or the event. How I'm going to apply this to my own project, I plan to incorporate some of these same elements into my own project, like creating timelines and maps and slideshows that will tell Ball State's history to my audience. And then my requirements. First, I'll talk about the usability goals. The history of Ball State is really about learnability. The audience will learn more about the history of Ball State. A history of Ball State is also about utility. The audience will be informed about Ball State's past, which will give them a better understanding of where we are now as a university. And now I'll talk about my user experience goals. The history of Ball State should be entertaining. It should be interesting. It should be enjoyable. It should also be educating, but the story should also be about learning more about Ball State history. The story should not be boring or dull. And then I will show you my user requirements. So here are my user requirements. I have 9 of them. My first one is a place where users can enter the story, and the media asset I have right now, question marked, is a starting page. All the media assets right now are just question marked, just to be a starting point, I guess, of what I'd like to do, but that might change. And then the second requirement is gives a background of some of the history of Ball State, and I want to do like blog postings maybe. And then requirement 3, a place where all of the information will be located, which could be like a website. And then the 4th is showing important buildings on Ball State's campus and why they are important locations, which could be like an interactive map like we looked at earlier. And then requirement 5 is chronologically showing important dates within Ball State's history, which could be like an interactive timeline. User requirement 6 is seeing how well the users retain the information, which could be through short quizzes and stuff like that. User requirement 7, helping users navigate the story, which could be like a navigation page, like if users get lost within the narrative of the story. Requirement 8 is show pictures of historical sites and events, which could be a photo album. And then finally, requirement 9, letting users know they have completed the story, which could be like a winning screen. And now we will go back to the presentation and talk about how I'm going to be moving forward. And moving forward, what I plan to do next is researching more about Ball State history and using the digital archives. I plan on doing more research in the coming weeks on Ball State's history, like looking up important events that have happened, important people to the university, and some of the history of the buildings on campus. And also looking more at other websites and see how they incorporate different interactive elements and just elements in general to be entertaining and educational at the same time. And with that all said, I am very excited to continue moving forward on this project and seeing the final product come into shape. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation, and have a good day.